All right, so now I'll just start the recording, and I'll just share my screen. So once again, if someone could just let me know that you can see my screen, that'd be excellent. Well, welcome everybody officially to the Australian Business Fitness Institute, run by Cert PT Wealth. And really why we designed this course is that we wanted to make sure that the level of coaching or mentoring in our fitness industry was taken to a high standard. Now, there's a lot of, I guess, so-called experts, coaches that we've seen pop up over the last 7 years that we've started. And when we started 7 years ago, when we started Cert PT Wealth, we were the only ones really educating other trainers. And so the reason why we've gone down this path in terms of having the quality and the quantity of our education is just to make sure that the consumer out there, being you, really identifies that it is important to make sure that whoever you're going to get some training, education, or coaching or mentoring, it's not just all smoke and mirrors and hype, because it's not. There's a lot of people there that quite easily can sell themselves and market themselves, but there'd be very little substance behind it. So it's why we really wanted to make sure that our stuff is accredited and that you know that as well. When we look at your business per se, the profitability and the success of your business will boil down to a couple of things really, and it's going to boil down to your ability to understand business and your business acumen. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So what we'll cover today is why most PT businesses fail. And we're talking about PT business, but I could be referring to any businesses. I'll share with you how I almost went broke and in my first PT business, well, actually owned a gym, and the mistakes I learned. And then we're going to look at the 9 key areas to increase the profit and the success of your business, which is vitally important. So if you're not sure what those 9 are now, well, by the end of this seminar, by the end of this webinar, you're definitely going to know the areas that it is important for you to be across. Next is a step-by-step blueprint for running a successful PT business. So if you're on this, as we promote and advertise, we will be talking about how and what problems we solve in terms of this certification course for fitness professionals, and we'll do that at the end. I guess firstly, we'll look at why people fail in businesses. Well, my quick snapshot of my story is a number of years ago. I'm 40 now, been in the industry for about 21 years, but I decided I was going to open up a gym, and I was about 25 or 6 at the time. And at that time, I was writing a bodybuilding, and so my business planning, the depth business planning that I decided to open a business up on was based on what I was into. And I was going to open up the bodybuilding mecca of Brisbane along with a mate of mine. And we quickly almost went broke. So we invested a lot of money buying equipment, decking it out, the shop fitting. We had a large space, 860 square metres, so the rent was quite high. And so we had none of this business acumen back then in terms of doing actually analysis of, is this a good thing to do, what niche market we're going to approach, all those things that we require. You got to work out how many members we'd actually have to get in before breaking even. Had none of that. So we've opened up, realised that, and I'm not having a go at bodybuilders because it was a thing I was in, but they weren't the best and ideal market to tap into, at least not back then. And I won't go into why it was the case. You probably understand that, for one, PT wasn't high on their agenda. They, like it or not, in the area we were in, they were a bit intimidating for other members. So it wasn't a good market. Some of our structure, when people would walk up and ask how much that it was to join our gym, we would just hand them a flyer with all the prices on and wave them out the door. So had very little business knowledge. Of course, almost going broke forces you to start to think a little bit differently, and we actually have to get help. I realised that I had to start educating myself in business is one area that I really lacked in, and that made a big difference. So we looked at our business overall and said, what do we want to be known for, and how do we make our business successful? Well, we realised we had no idea about systems, we had no idea about marketing, lead gen, niche markets, tracking our business. We had no idea of that. We had plenty of enthusiasm and drive, and we love what we do, but we didn't have the business knowledge. And so, really when it boils down to for ourselves, that's why we almost went broke. So we hired some coaches and mentors to help in those areas. We quickly identified that we weren't a gym. We were there to solve some type of problem. And one of the things we like to educate our trainers on is that. So what problem are you solving, or what solution are you providing out there in the marketplace? And if you can get the answers to those questions, then you're on the right track to developing a niche and making your business a lot more effective. So there was a brief background of, why I almost went broke. And what we learned on the way is that people joining a gym was probably 10% of what they really needed. What we needed to do is provide solutions for them. And we realised we identified we had three key markets and three niche markets. And one was when we surveyed our clients, there was a big female market there, and it was between, say, 18 to 35. And when we asked them why did they join the gym in the first place, what was it that got them to join the gym? They said, we want to get trim and tone, and those kind of responses. So what we did was we designed a program called the Trim and Tone. We designed it so it provided a solution to what they wanted. It was a structure that made it easier to sell and identify with. So we had one program called Trim and Tone. The next niche we had was people that were getting over 40, so 45 and over. And the main thing they were saying is, look, I just want to feel better. I want to have more energy, and I don't want to be as sore and stiff and have all these aches. And one of the key words they said was, I just want to have a healthier lifestyle. And so what we did was we designed a program called the Healthy Lifestyle. And so we were providing, once again, a solution to the things and problems that we heard, rather than just selling personal training. So we're big on getting away from just selling PT sessions and actually selling a solution, giving it some kind of identity that people can identify with, and then structuring that program so it's easy for people to see the progression of going through a program like that. So what happens in the first 4 weeks, what happens in the next 4 weeks, all the way through to them achieving their goals. If that's 6 months or 12 months, just as long as there's a structure there that people can follow, it makes an easier buying decision. And of course, lastly, we had a niche market that was what we really started with, but it wasn't really in terms of bodybuilding. We had a small percentage of younger males, between about 18 and 35 or so as well. And, of course, what they wanted to do was put on some muscle and look good. And we called that program the Muscle Accelerator, because for those particular niche market, they didn't want to do it slowly, they wanted to do it quickly. So that's a little bit of background about one of my experiences starting off in business and the big learnings I took away from it. If we look at why people fail in business, and I'm sure this is going to make perfect sense to you, it's not rocket science, but I guess number one is there's no clear understanding of their end goals. So they don't have any financial targets. And we've educated over 6,500 trainers in the last 7 years. Brad and I personally do what we call blueprint sessions from people after they attend our 2-day seminar. And it would be less than 5% of people who actually have a proper tailored business plan set out. If they have had one, it's been from 2 years ago and hasn't been revisited. So there's no financial targets set. They don't really know what they want to be achieving. Normally the first time they know what they've earned is at tax time. And basically, if you do not have that planned out, how can you know if you're on track or not? How do you know if your business is going to be successful? I remember that's what I used to do. The first time I looked at my financials was at tax time, and I was crossing my fingers hoping that it was going to work out. Now, if you put that into PT terms, you can imagine someone coming into you with a specific health and fitness goal, and you don't have any proper structure, you don't check in, you don't do any reviews or retesting. It's just guesswork. You're going to just hope they end up in shape, or they're going to hope they end up in shape. So without that, it's really important, and it's really important we do that. Mostly I find it's just that people struggle to sit down and do a business plan because they don't really know what areas they should be looking at. So once again, it's one of the key areas we help educate people in. Once you learn how to do that, then it's just more of a mathematical equation. You also can work it out on what do you need your business to provide you with for your lifestyle. So I have properties, I have shares, I know what I need to make as a bare minimum, and the business needs to provide that. And that's a good driving force for me to know what I need to be making in my business. Once again, if you don't have any of that external drive, you don't have the reason why you're doing it, then it can just be turning up day to day, week to week, hoping for the best, hoping that your business is going to be on track. Now, Brad and I have planned out the next 20 years, and the reason we can do that is because we've got a formula that we teach and that we use. And it's just quite simple, and it's a 20% growth process that you can predict out for that long term, and that affects your sales, your marketing, your lead gens, the whole lot. So once again, it's very important if we don't sit down and spend the time to understand what we want from our business, what it's supposed to provide us, then everything else that we do day to day, week to week won't happen. You won't know what areas to spend your time and energy in. So very important about knowing the end goal for our business, that's for sure. Very important. Next, we talk about what business are you really in? And I ask this question at the seminars that we teach, and not many people get the answer right. So when I say what business are you in, most people say, well, I'm in a personal training business. And I say, well, are you really? Because you can be the best qualified personal trainer on the planet, you can have the best skill sets, you can even deliver an amazing service, but you can also be the best kept secret. And so what I mean by that is, if you have limited knowledge or limited ability to promote yourself, then you're going to be the best, but you'll probably also be the best kept secret. And we come across it all the time. You know, we see someone who's highly talented, they've got an exceptional skill set, they can help someone be pain-free in 3 simple visits or within one visit, but yet no one knows about them, and that's a real shame. And so for that person, it's not so much they stop being in business because they're not good at it. What they do, they get out of business, go back to a job because they just simply can't make the business work because they don't know enough about the marketing and sales side of it. So what business are you really in? Well, we're all really in a marketing and sales business. And if there's 2 areas that you need to get skilled at, it's marketing and sales. How do you promote yourself? How do you go out there to the public and make your stuff appealing, make it so irresistible, or solve a problem that people are attracted to getting in contact with you? And that's step 1. The next step is, once you can do that effectively, once you know how to generate leads consistently and ongoing, and that part of your business makes it secure for you. So you know that you don't need to be worried every week about where your next client's going to come from. Or you could be in that position where you've got enough clients just because of referrals or people just happen to turn up, which is not a system, that's just good fortune. But when a client who might be doing 2 sessions, 3 sessions a week drops off, it can have a real big impact on your business. It can mean $200, $300 walking out the door. Or if you get a number of clients leaving in a short period of time, then that can also have a big impact. And then it can cause a bit of stress, and we ride that roller coaster of feeling good, feeling stressed, and because we don't really have a predictable way to get clients ongoing or build our database of leads. So what we need to understand is that you're actually in a marketing and sales business, and that's what we cover and teach as well. Next, the area is really a lack of systems and knowledge in this area. Now, if you look at McDonald's, you've got a multi-million-dollar business, or businesses that make millions of dollars, and it's predominantly run by 16-year-olds who are still using Clearasil to get rid of the zits on their face. Now, how can they do that? Well, systems work. Systems make it easy. Systems make it predictable. So the real key is figuring out for your business, what are the systems that you need? And people talk about systems, but when I ask them their understanding of systems and what can they explain to me, not many people can do that. They understand they need systems, but they don't really understand why they would have them in the first place. What we explore and what we help you with is to understand that systems in your business are to do a few things. One is to give you evidence and feedback that what you're doing is working. So let's just look at sales. So if you just wing sales, every time you do a sales appointment, it's different. There's no real structure. What I mean by that is you couldn't teach your method to somebody else because it just relies on you hopefully getting it right on the day. Then that's not a system. However, if you've got a structured process and you track and measure the results, so you've had 5 sales appointments this week, you've converted 4 of them, then you say you've got a high conversion rate. You'd work out, is that 90% conversion rate? And if you do that consistently, you go, yeah. Now on the flip side, if you're converting 1 out of 5, then that's a problem. And we need to track and measure that. So that would be a system to go every week over the course of the month, what's been our conversion rate? Now, if the conversion rate's not working, it's not giving you the result that you want, then that's when you know that's a problem and you've got to fix it. Because that's a lot of money walking out the door. It's a lot of money walking out the door because of one simple skill, and that is that you haven't learned, or you haven't mastered, or you haven't got good at the sales part of your business. So it's no good getting people in front of you if you can't do a good job of converting them into paying clients. So that can hurt you. Next thing is you'll have a system for client retention. So you look at, you go, well, since we've introduced this new customer care service or system, that when a client comes into our business, month 1, month 2, this is the things they receive. We send out thank you letters just for being an outstanding client. There's follow-up calls, whatever that may be. Since we've introduced that, what we've noticed is that our client retention rate is a lot higher. So over average of the course of the year, maybe before you were doing that, had that customer care service in and you worked hard in that area, maybe that on average, your clients stay with you for 4 months. But since introducing this new system, what you've noticed is it's had an impact on your business, and your client retention is now double. Maybe the average lifetime value is 6 months. Now I'm hoping that it's a lot higher than that for you, but just as an example. So systems are there to make your business run more effectively, more efficiently, more predictable, and make it a lot easier for you. So if you ever wanted to remove yourself from the day-to-day running of it, that you'd have manuals, you'd have structures, you'd have processes in place, that someone else could come in and quite simply learn how to do that. So very important that we understand what systems we need in the business to give us the evidence to make sure that our business is tracking right and it's on target to reach our end goals. And that's all feeds back to our first business goals, the marketing, sales, systems. It all leads back, it all starts with the business plan. The next thing is, it doesn't get talked about a lot, but there's mental blocks to success. What I mean by that is we've all got subconscious beliefs about our ability to be successful in any area, relationships, making money, and of course business. And what we need to do is make sure that once you set your goals and targets on paper, how do you feel about achieving those goals? I'm not going to go into the whole mindset side of it in this, but I've spent the last 13 years, my background's a lot in human performance and helping people break through self-sabotaging roadblocks that keep them back. So you can have all the knowledge in the world, and what we also recommend is you spend time on developing yourself and releasing and letting go of these limiting programs you may have. So we cover that as well in our programs to give you some insight and guidance about how to do that, how to uncover and explore, do I actually have positive beliefs about making a business, or have I picked up, or am I, underneath the surface carrying around some limiting beliefs about myself and about what I can do and achieve a business. So it's very important that we look at that component of it as well. And I guess lastly, if you look at it, there's little to no business education. So if you've done very little training education in this area, we really shouldn't be surprised if we're not going okay. Now, if you are going okay with very little business education, up to this point, it's probably been your determination, your energy, and your drive. And while that's cool, and the good news is that imagine what you can do if you get some actual knowledge about how your business runs and performs. Now, if your business is not going great, it probably comes back to the fact of a couple of things. One, you don't have a clear vision, clear goal, and you don't have the business knowledge to know where to spend your time and energy. So that's definitely the components of why people would fail in business. At the end of the day, my experience is as I've grown and educated myself more, what I've noticed is that reflects on the scoreboard. And the scoreboard being your financial feedback at tax time. So come the financial year, if I've looked at it and identified, hey, what we struggled with last year were these areas, sales were down, our sales conversion was down, our lead generation was down. Well, that gives me an insight to go, well, what, that's the two areas I need to really spend and focus my time on and energy in this next 12 months. If I choose to ignore it and I just keep running along with the same old process and hope for a different result, well, then at come the financial year, you're just hoping that it maybe did the same as the year before, or you're hoping it just is better by luck. So what it staggers me is that we've got this evidence, but yet we choose sometimes not to act on it. So what we say is if there's areas that you're not good at, and most people know, they say to me, Jason, I suck at sales, I'm not good at it. And I go, well, how much longer are you going to walk around just saying that? Because what you're reinforcing is what you don't want. So what we need to do is go, up to this point, I've chosen to be not good at sales because I haven't invested any time and money in it. So if I spend some extra time and energy getting better in that area, then like training, I'm going to get better at it. If you want to get bigger and stronger, you don't just walk around saying, hey, I'm weak I'm not very strong. We go, what are you going to do about it? So we're going to get to the gym, we're going to get a strength coach, we're going to educate ourselves about what it takes to get stronger, and we're going to build up. So we can see the similarities in any area of life, that we've got to be mindful about how we're talking about these things and what we do with them. So here's some case studies that I want to run through rather than just hearing it from me and logic. So here's some of our clients come through, and I think it's really inspiring. And what I love most about what we do is not only see people reach the financial success they want in their business, but grow as individuals. And in my opinion, business is the best personal development program on the planet, because what it does is it puts right in front of your face all the areas that you aren't quite good at yet, or you're not there yet, and it'll expose you to do that. So it's very hard to hide business. You can have a 9-to-5 job, cruise through, because at some point that job's going to become easy. But in business, there's always going to be something that is going to ask you to step up and challenge you. And I really like that. I like the fact that's exciting, that we're not just going to get out of bed every day going autopilot. Let's have a look at some case studies. First one is a guy named Peter Prowse. Now, Peter Prowse actually went to school with Brad Shepherd, who's, if you don't know, Brad's co-director of Create PT Wealth. And Peter's story is quite unique. He finished school, and Peter would say this himself. He left school, and he would tell you that he fudged off. School wasn't for him. He didn't do that great at school. He ended up working at a meat abattoir up north, and he really didn't like his life at all. He called Brad after a couple of years of leaving school and heard about Brad's success, and said to Brad, I really want to get out of what I'm doing now. I always loved fitness. I want to get into it. Can you tell me how and why you've been so successful? Peter came along to one of our 2-day seminars, and I remember his face to this day, and it was just a look of shock and bewilderment, sitting there in fear. It was so overwhelming for him to start hearing these little bits about business. To Peter's credit, though, he really embraced himself. And at the time, the seminar, he was just working at the gym, slaving away, not earning much money at all. From that, and that's about 5 years ago now, 5-6 years ago, Peter's really thrived, and he's currently living in Japan with his wife, who's Japanese. And while his business back in Brisbane is running itself with, I think he's got about 4 or 5 trainers, and he checks in. So what I love about Peter's story is that not only did he build up and learn and educate himself about business, create the lifestyle that he wanted, he also had the ability to have a business that, with the systems and implementing everything that we taught and he learned, was then able to move overseas and have his business still running here in Brisbane, making passive income while he's living in Japan. And that's the real thing. I see a lot of trainers that they can rather leave, if they leave the industry, or they want to go overseas because they haven't structured it right or learned that part of it, that they just close up. And there's all that effort, hard work, and they don't get a single cent return for it. So Peter could actually sell that business. That was an option, because it meant it didn't require just him. He had a business that ran without him, so that's appealing for someone to buy. Or he did what he's doing now, and that's how the business runs, because it makes good revenue for him. Next case study was a lady named Janine Mullen. She lived out in Dalby, as you can see there. And when she first came along to our seminar, she was struggling. It was almost ready to go broke. And she heard some of the methods and training techniques and the things that we recommended. And she said, look, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I understand, you guys, what you're talking about. And I guess I know the methods have worked. There's plenty of evidence for that. However, I'm not sure if it'll work where I am out in Dalby, 3 hours west of Brisbane, a small remote town. To her credit, though, once again, there's a key theme amongst all the people that I'll quickly run through today in these case studies, and that is they took the first step. They took the first step in going, I've got to do something, because if I keep going the way I'm going, I'm not going to get any better. I'm not going to improve, and ultimately, I might the doors will be shut. And that's where Janine was in. She was open enough just to try it, explore it, and the results that she got was incredible. So she went from doing 2,000 a month and struggling to then up over 18,000, a month in a reasonably short time, in my opinion. So another great success story. We've got Adam Grono from Sydney. He was earning about $250 a week, and then when he started with the program, and he wound up at a PT studio. 4 months later, he had a team of 7 trainers and making $250,000 a year. So it can happen quite quick if you educate yourself and you get the right systems. And of course, you've got to have the additional part of having the drive, the determination to make it work. Now, all these figures and that, I tell you, we not get too caught up in that. It doesn't matter if you did it in 3 months, 4 months, 12 months, 2 years, just as long as you're progressing forward and you're improving on where you are now, that's a great return on you personally and on your business and your investment. Harley Beckett is just a standout for us. She was with us for 4 years, and she's from Perth, and she flew over to do our very first seminar in Melbourne when we branched out from only doing it in Brisbane. So she tracked all the way over from Perth, and when we first met her, she was working at Fernwood, making about 30 grand a year. The first year she'll be the first to admit he's a case study with the first year. She really didn't apply herself as good as she could when she was in our internship program. However, she had the education, the knowledge, which is something you can't lose once you've got it. She then opened the studio up. She was doing about 60 grand a year. However, it was costing about the same to run it. At this stage now, she's got a team of 10 trainers. She removes herself fully from it. I think she does about 1 or 2 hours per week, and they're doing in excess of $10,000 per week. So once again, this is a reflection of her educating herself. So over the 4 years' time, it's grown and grown. Like I said, it's reflected the effort and energy she's put into learning about educating herself in business. So this is success it's no secret. It leaves clues. There's no secret to someone getting in shape. It's like they've done the work, they've followed a plan, they'll work time and time again. The only way it doesn't work is if you have the knowledge and you don't use it. Tim Morgan's become a great mate of mine. He's another one who's been in our program for 4 years. And when I first met Tim, he's from Melbourne and he has a mobile PT business. He was doing part-time PT and he was doing scaffolding. So he was making about 25 grand a year from his PT business back then. I've worked with Tim personally. Of course, he started off on doing one of our lower level programs, and then he got up and built up to our highest level internship, and then he worked with myself last year. And last financial year, he did $250,000. So that was over a 3-year period. He went from 25 grand a year to doing 250,000. And what I really admire about Tim is he just does whatever it takes. He's in there. He's learning about marketing, sales. He just makes the effort. He educates himself. And once again, we're not surprised in our business when we see those who get the results, because they've actually they've gone the extra yard, they've put the work in, and they've picked up the tools and used them. So Chris Cochran, another high standout. When we first met Chris, another 3 years ago, he was working at a gym, solo trainer, doing massive amounts of hours, 50 hours a week, burnt out, ready to quit. He now runs a business called Rapid PT in Sydney. He has about 20 trainers working for him. I can't keep up with his testimonials because every time I talk to him, he's gone to a whole new level. So he's definitely one of our most decorated clients have come through, just highly driven, highly motivated. And, once again, to be able to do 60,000 a month, he's really put the time, energy and effort into it. So it's just good to see some of these success stories. And these only just a few out of the hundreds of clients we have coming through that have increased. Now, once again, some of these are really great success stories. There's other people that have started and they're making about 30 grand a year, and next year they're doing 50, 60. That's all good. It's not have to be pie in the sky and all ultra successful in terms of large figures. The real question is, if you can start educating yourself, you get around the right support, you do that, and you can see increases every year. That's the main thing. Eventually, you're going to get to that, whatever your target is. So if earning 100 grand or 250 grand a year at this stage it seems like such a big thing to achieve, then you set it for what you want, and then maybe that's just need to get to 60,000 first. Once you learn the business procedures and systems, then you can see predictably how then and what it's going to take for you to get yourself to 80 or 100, and you keep progressing. So we say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And while some of these people have done things in reasonably quick time, they've all put a lot of time, and it has taken some time for them to get there. So it's very important. The one thing that I make it clear is any of the real hypey, make $1 million in 6 months. Could it be done? Yeah, but it's highly unlikely, because we know the effort that needs to go into first educating yourself. That's the first part of the process. Then taking that on board and then applying it and adapting it. And once again, it doesn't matter if you increase your profit by 20 grand for this year, just as long as you know that it's because you've educated yourself in the right areas, and you can see then you've got some evidence about, okay, well now I can see how I actually could do more. I could double that. Actually, I could increase it by 40 because you've got the confidence, you've got the skills, and you've got the knowledge. So very important that we cover off on that. So if we look at what's the most effective way for you to, I guess, get yourself in a similar boat of those other people, and what we aim to do is make it as easy and as accessible for you to get that education, make it tailored for you and for the fitness industry. So what we are looking for and what we are continuously looking for are people who are serious and who want to improve the success of their business and lifestyle. Now, after being in the coaching field for the last 13 years, offering training and mentoring for people, we have a large team of 10 coaches that work for our organisation. I'm not in the stage where I'm prepared to drag people and use all my energy to convince what's in their best interest. What we want is people that are just wanting to join us and build their business successfully. So I don't have to drag people kicking and screaming. It's like, if that's not for you, that's cool. So it's worth me saying that because we're not looking for everybody. We're just looking for those people who really want to, who identify with what we do, like what we do, and also want more for their business and their life. Now I want to talk about what does the program actually deliver, our certification in fitness business. What does it actually deliver? So you know what that would take. So firstly is what makes our program so unique, because there are a lot of certification courses out there on business management, and you can find them anywhere and everywhere. So we looked at that when we were doing this and go, well, why would someone want to come and do a program with us? And the main one, firstly, is that we've boosted this program with our very own intellectual property. So Brad and I have been in for 20 years. What we've included is our sales systems, our sales methods that are all proven to work and that our top level students get, our marketing strategies, our lead generation strategies, all of our processes have been proven to work. So it's not an off-the-shelf one that most of the certifications courses are. Most of them, they're just off-the-shelf. They've been written by someone who hasn't been in the industry. It's the same stuff if you're going to open up a massage, a hair salon, you name it. It's not personalised for the fitness industry, and it's not written by someone who's actually been there and done it. It is just theory. So it was being designed by Brad and I personally. We sat down and we go, what content do these guys really want to need to know, and what's going to be most effective for them to have in their business? So we sat down and spent the time and energy to do that. And like I said, we've bolstered it up with our own intellectual property, which you just won't find anywhere else. We have an amazing support team. So when you come through the certification course, if there's things you're struggling with the actual, learning itself, because it's all online based, then we have a great support backup team to make sure that you get that support that you require. You get access to our live 2-day business building seminar. So for some people, they might have already attended that. If you have attended and you do this course, then it'd be advised to just redo it again, because as you grow and develop, the course will seem different for you. There'll be bits you missed the first time. If you haven't been to one of our events, so this is a bonus that you'll get. So you'll get to come along and attend that event. It comes with 12 CEC points. You also get a copy of our #1 best-selling book if you don't have it when you join this program, and you'll get our home study pack from the seminar, which is a lot of recordings of the sessions there, but it's also additional learnings that people don't see at the seminar, and that's like 10 CDs and DVDs with all of our sales concepts, marketing, customer care processes, how to overcome objections. It's full with really a lot of good resources, and that's something you can just, I guess that's your educational process as well. The other really cool thing is we've got a VIP private page, and it's only for our students. And so we've allowed our certification people to come and join that group. It was only really for our mentoring students and our top internship people. And on there currently there's about 140 or so fitness professionals that are students of ours. And it's where people are asked for help, support. It's like your own little private forum. There's no idiots on there. And what I mean by idiots is that it's not like just random pages. Everyone's supportive, everyone is in the same boat, they're wanting to build their business up. There's also people on there, like some of the case studies that I just mentioned, so you've got access to really high level successful people. And what you'll find is once people have made it themselves, the best way and one of the most valuable things is to be able to give that knowledge back and help out. So it's a really cool support network, and you get access to that group. Most of our clients who have done their 12 months with us, one of the things they normally beg us for is go, can I please stay on this VIP group? Because once you finish with us, that was the end of all the services, but now we allow our past students to remain on that so they can still stay connected and have that support. So very cool. Next, we look at what results will you gain from doing the certification. So then this is going through the step-by-step learning and education that you get from the program, what it delivers. So the first thing, and I talked about up front, is undertake a targeted business plan. And so we look at how to effectively plan your business. So not just like when you do your certification course to become a PT, and it's really left up to you. There's very little educational design to it. We have to show you how to do that effectively. Plan your predictable results. So what we need to know is exactly in the areas of sales, lead generation, marketing, staff, all that stuff. What is it that is required to make sure that your business is getting some predictable results month in, month out? Of course, we're going to set attainable revenue, net and personal income targets. That's pretty straightforward. Next, we look at the business development, business priorities. So when you are working your business week to week, month to month, what is it really that you need to be focused on? So what is it we need to be doing to make your business achieve those financial targets? We need to develop a system to know what tasks are essential for you to reach your goals. There might be some tasks you're doing right now that are best to be outsourced, because here's how we view it. If there's a job that you're struggling with, you don't really like, you're entering data or something like that, takes you forever to do, you put off doing it so it doesn't get done, which is the worst thing. And you could be paying someone $15 an hour to do 3 hours a week or something like that. It's going to cost you like $45, and what you get paid is 60 or 80, whatever your hourly rate is to a PT session. The question is, why do you struggle? Why do you try to keep persisting with doing this stuff? So it's about taking on a business entrepreneur's hat, putting that hat on and go, I can just outsource this because I can, get on with doing what I do best and find a way to make more money. Next, we're going to plan business finances. So know exactly what the figures mean in your business. So, profit and loss, what it costs to run the business. We're going to look at all that side of things. We're going to look at know how to calculate your GST. For some of you might be doing this, but it's important that we make sure that you're up to speed with it. Calculate your GST. Do you have that farmed away? So in our business, what we do is we've got a tax account, GST account, profit account. They're all separate accounts set up. So we show you how to do that so you don't get any nasty surprises. What a lot of people can do is they don't. They maybe spend the tax money, or they're just going all on one account. Comes tax time, and the tax accountant goes, well, you owe 20 grand in tax, and you're going, oh, where is it? So we're going to make sure that we avoid doing that. Also working out, make sure that you're paying yourself. So unfortunately, most personal trainers, they don't run a business properly. They get the money and they just treat it all like it's theirs, and that's not a successful formula. So we start working out, what are you going to pay yourself, what goes into profit, how we work all that out. Once again, if you've got that clear in your mind, it's easy to set up and structure. We look at methods to making the accounting side of things really stress-free. So that's really important. And at the moment, if you go, I really hate that side of things, paperwork, then you'll be amazed at how easy we can make it for you. There's of course the legal and risk management side of things. So look at what we need to acquire in that area. So obligations for formal requirements and documentation. So it's pretty straightforward. Make sure you aren't exposed to any nasty surprises. So make sure there's a checklist and make sure that you can check off all of that step by step. Make sure everything's in line so you're not exposed. Also back on that, eventually if you're going to get property, if you've got property or you're going to get into investments, you're just going to make sure you set up right. So if something untoward did happen, that you're protected and you don't lose your hard-earned investments that you've been putting time, sweat and energy into. Next, we look at the marketing of your business. So what we know and what we've been talking about a little bit today is the best marketers have the most successful business. Hence, like McDonald's are not the best hamburger makers in the world, but they definitely are the best at marketing and sales. So we've got to make sure that you have both. You have a really great product, outstanding product that gets people raving about you, but we also that you understand how to best market yourself. We learn the principles of effective marketing and put them in place, and so that way you feel more confident and capable when you go, where should I be marketing, what budget should I be spending, and is it actually working? So there's a real process, and if you've been to our 2-day workshop, you would have been exposed to the thinking behind that, the psychology of how marketing all works and how to do it effectively. And then, of course, methods to position yourself as the #1 choice. So there's some really simple but effective ways in order to do that. And it's beyond the scope of today. Really, what my view is that if you're in a local area or somewhere, I think, why wouldn't you want to strive to be the best, to be #1? It doesn't matter so much if you get there or not, but my mentality is just strive to always be better. How do we just keep being better for your own sake, but also just to position yourself as the ultimate best? We look at establishing networks. So the most effective ways to join alliances, and it's really important that we have all these key areas in place. So if you can do it effectively and have some really good joint alliances, it's one of the fastest ways to grow your business. So having people that you put the time and energy into. Most people do this wrong. Most people go into joint alliances only thinking about what they can get out of it, and normally that's when it all breaks down. So we're going to show you a way how to do it more effectively. So people are just willingly and openly and consistently referring people onto you. We need to turn more prospects into clients using the ongoing processes that we use. Present a sales solution. So if you get all that part in place, and once again, you've got people in front of you, however, you're not converting those clients because it's an area that you're struggling with, then once again, all that hard work has come down to a real big missed opportunity. And if I think about the gym, when I had the gym and the amount of people I waved out the door because I didn't know what to say, I didn't understand this part of it, it can actually feel quite confronting to me now because a lot of people just wave at the door, and it's not only did I let them down, I didn't provide a good service for them. That's the ethical part of it. The other part is, well, it's all ethical. The other part is that for a business, I just made it tough for myself because I didn't know how to do that. So we show you a system how to convert 9 out of 10 prospects and really take the sales out of selling. So you don't feel like you're selling. And what we say is you're a solution provider. You're there to provide a solution for people. And doing that way, it makes it a lot easier for you to have that process. Next, due to my background in the psychology part of it, we also need to tap into that and go, how do you actually just feel really relaxed, comfortable and confident when you go through the sales process. And like I said, a system for selling programs and not selling PT sessions. So one of the hardest things, if you're just selling on PT session, it's that can cause client retention to drop because people are thinking I'm paying X amount per session rather than paying for a program that delivers an end result. And so what we've found is the results selling programs and an end result versus just selling PT is way more effective. The other thing is that it stops the shopping on price, because if you've got a program tailored, set up, and they get all this stuff in their program, it's not just the PT session part of it, then it really does stop that price comparison. We need to look at addressing the customer needs. So what we do there is design a complete customer care system. So it takes you through A to Z. And once again, this gets people raving about you. This just helps people to refer you easily. It helps with client retention. So people stay with you longer. And they just have a great experience. So once again, it doesn't just become about the PT, it's about all the other little things that you provide to that client that is going to make them want to stay with you because they just love it. It becomes one of the best things that they do, during the week. Results, of course, I just talked about, it will help increase retention rate. Next, depending on where you are now, you might just be going, I just want to start my business up, I want it to improve, or I want it to get, at a higher level. At some point, if you really want to be in a business and not self-employed is where you're just going to keep turning up and all your effort means that you don't get paid if you don't turn up. If you go on holidays, then the income bucket stops dripping. All these things, that means you're self-employed and it's the highest risk position to be in. If you then like the idea of making passive income, then this is one of the best things that we teach. Is what we're known for, is how we build a team, make that passive income. But there is a real trick, and over the years, of course, we've figured out exactly one of the best systems, the best methods for making sure how you hire team members and don't make all the mistakes that we made early on in the piece. We also look at the fact that you can make passive income. So all those case studies I showed you before, for most of those people, they don't have to turn up to get paid. So it's quite effective. They don't actually have to turn up to get paid. And so it's quite unique in that sense. Also quite powerful because you've got the idea of being on holidays and not having to, worry about money dropping off, then it's excellent. Team agreements and legal docs. So we need to make sure that that's all structured right and that it's in line with all the proper laws and regulations. Use our procedure system to run you through all the parts of your business. So if we're looking at how long does it take, to do the course and complete it? Well, the course is actually 12 months, but if someone was really motivated, they really wanted to get in there and get it completed, and of course, like anything, the more you put time, energy you put in, the quicker the results come. You could do it in 3 months. I'd say somewhere between 6 to 12 months is probably realistic for someone who's reasonably busy. And it is a 12-month course, like I said. So this is the time allowed to complete it. It's very realistic for the person who's exceptionally busy. So you better get through and do it at your own pace. So it's really up to you. Of course, the quicker you get the knowledge and you can implement it and apply it to your business, the better you get the results. So the light at the end of the tunnel, well, the reason why I do all this business stuff, because it cannot seem that appealing, and I think for some people who don't really get a really great understanding of what it is that for me, it's the fact that what I wanted to provide with me is the lifestyle. So hanging out with my mates, doing all the activities, going flying, all the things that I really enjoyed, going on holidays, with Brad, my business partner, and our wives, getting dropped on the deck. There's in Mexico a number of years ago while our business was running back home. So I just say this not to impress anybody, but just to, once again, hopefully ignite that fire of what can be possible. So, it doesn't, in 4 years, a lot can happen if you spend the time and energy educating yourself. Going away, on holidays with family. I wanted to donate and give back to, society. So I raised money for Diabetes Queensland. I also donated my time to a place called The Haven in Brisbane, which is a drug and alcoholic rehab centre. So that was great to be able to do that. There's the firewalk we run to raise the money for Diabetes Queensland. So that was a great experience at the Broncos. Everyone was shitting themselves beforehand, and one person does it, then of course everybody starts to do it. And that's what I find with our business. We see a couple of people get success over the years. Everyone's just then gone and done it quicker because other people led the way to show what actually is possible. Built a school in Vanuatu, and that was a great honour to be able to do that and raise the money to do it through a federation called the Better Life Foundation. So the first step from here is just to enrol in a blueprint. So we are looking for people that just want to have a chat about this particular program and find out more information about it. It's for us to understand your business, I guess, more in detail and you as a person, and then to uncover this program is a good fit for you or not. And that's really where the first step would take at this point. From there, we book in your session. So if at this point you would like to do that, and I encourage anybody who's really motivated to to get and take this first step, just initially type in the box that you'd like to book in to talk about the certification course. And what we'll do is we'll follow up with you and book a time in the chat. So the investment, and sorry, that was just in that question section. So in the question box there, you can type that in. The investment for the program, just so you're very clear on it, even before doing that, is it's a $297 upfront to get started. So, and then once you're on that certification course, it's then $59 plus GST per week. So it's really economical, really affordable for all the stuff that you're going to get. All right, well that's the breakdown of the actual course, and thanks for jumping on the call and the webinar. For those of you that are taking that next step, I see a bunch come through. That's great. We'll be following up with you very shortly. And for everybody else, hope you enjoyed the presentation. And it's bye for me for now. And I wish you a very successful rest of the week.